We are live. This is Travis from Carter Capital, helping you fight for your financial freedom throughout the Forex market. I hope everybody's doing very well today on this Tuesday evening. As we go through and being able to take a look at some of the trading opportunities, what I'm going to end up doing is that obviously I'm going to end up sharing the screen and being able to go from there. Give me 1 second as I am trying to make sure that everyone can be able to see this video. And then after that, we'll go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and get started with the disclaimer, get that out the way. And then after that, for the people that are watching live, like always, make sure that you end up placing in if you end up having a green day or a red day as we end up taking a look at this. So I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from the education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. I understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money, also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. You understand that past performance is not indicative for future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you're going to end up making money today. With that being said, I'm going to show myself onto the screen as soon as I end up making sure that the good old people on YouTube can be able to watch and see everything that's going on with the system and everything else right now at this particular point. It will be very quick. I just want to make sure that everybody's good with that. But once again, I'm going to see how the messaging system is actually working on this one. It's been up and down, obviously for the past few sessions. So we'll make sure that we're good with that. But hopefully everybody's doing very well. Hopefully everybody end up having a good trading day. Everything felt good this morning until we ended up having a big drop, and I wasn't in front of the computer to be able to kind of catch some of that drop or to be able to get out in some of those movements. So kind of upset about that, but overall it wasn't necessarily a loser. It was just we ended up losing out on some potential opportunities. And remember, tomorrow we're going to end up having the Fed start to talk. So it'll be something that we truly need to be able to pay attention to as the market is trying to make its move overall. All right, so I'm going to refresh my screen on this one. I just want to make sure that everything else is good before we actually end up moving forward. Let's see. Okay. And copy and nope. Let's see. Copy and paste and go. All right, there we go. What's going on, Steve? Hope everything's going well. What's going on, Block? Hope everything's going well. Block, you must be jet setting. Either today was a very good day or you jet setting. I don't know which one it is, but hope everything's going well with you. Let's see. So what's going on with the market? Give me a show. I am on the screen. There we go. Good to go. Like always, if you want to be able to get more information with everything that we're doing, you're more than welcome. To be able to join our Discord and be able to get some of the information that we have. I am actually going to end up dropping some new books and stuff like that off to everybody inside of the farm and inside of the elite and inner circle type group. So you'll see that a little bit later on tonight, if not first thing in the morning, so everybody can be able to see how everything is going along with that as well. So let's see. All right, cool. And if you want to do that, here is the link to be able to join Discord group. You're interested in being able to do that. All right, fair enough. Now let's go ahead and get into the charts. I'm going to start off with the pairs that we end up taking today, and then after that we'll talk about what's going on for those overall movements. We took a trade on NAS 100, took a trade on oil, ended up taking a trade on DAX as well. So we'll go through those three as the market kind of wraps up. So United States ended up having ISM manufacturing PMIs that actually ended up being better than overall expected. And then after that, we ended up having unemployment change and unemployment rate that just came out about a few hours ago when it came down to the New Zealand dollar. Canada just had Governor Macklin end up speaking at 6:30, and then after that, currently right now we're going through monetary policy minutes with the Bank of Japan. That's why the market's kind of being wrapping up from there and mushing and starting to push from there. Still in Peru, leaving the Asian market. I told you jet setting. There we go. That's the only way to work. That's the only way to fly. There you go. Nice. Good to hear. Good to hear. Um, so we're going to jump right into those pairs. We're going to end up paying attention to those. Today's probably going to end up being a more of a quicker day as well. Obviously, been talking about a few things, but I want to make sure that we truly are kind of getting the most out of what's happening in the market today. So first pair I want to talk about is oil. Um, the question is anybody still in oil? Let's see. Let's start off with that. Anybody still in oil? Um, Before we start being able to move on with that one. That was one of the pairs that we talked about being able to get in today, um, and kind of seeing how the market was going to end up kind of moving overall on that one. Let's see. Okay, so this was the game plan. Oil. Last week we ended up buying at 86. We had a stop loss at 82.50. When the market ended up pushing up, it ended up hitting our first take profit, which was at 88.50. And then after that, the market ended up pushing all the way up to $90 and then started to fall back to our overall positioning, actually put us at a loss, at least at the beginning of that move. Now, remember, we've been talking about since the beginning of October, we've really been seeing this one single move happen more and more over time. We've been seeing basically mean revision. Market has had a big breakout, had a retracement. From that retracement, had a counter trend line break, and then starting to be able to move. When we start to see this movement happen over and over and over again, then that means that the market is trending. And because the market is trending, we know what direction we're going to end up trading. We just have to be able to get ourselves into the best position possible to be able to make that movement. That's why this counter trend line break ended up meaning so much when it came down to our entry. End up getting in at 86.83 earlier today. And from that movement of 86.83, market ended up breaking the counter trend line break, started to push up, had a little bit of consolidation a little bit earlier this morning as we were going through and taking a look at it. From there, the market actually ended up breaking out of that area and is starting to show a little bit more consolidation right now as we're going through this push again and trying to figure out what's going to happen with this movement overall from there. So if you're not in, the question is, should you be looking to be able to get in? That answer, very simply put, is yes, only because of, I would say mainly because of what's happening from a overall standpoint of supply and demand, and just from what happens in the winter months. Typically, you end up seeing oil and natural gas and everything else goes up in value. So it wouldn't be surprising if the market continues to keep on pushing. But obviously, you got to remember, oil from a weekly standpoint is still basically in the buy zone and it's starting to be able to move itself out of that overall area. So I still think there's a good chance of being able to make a move, even at market right now, and feel pretty comfortable about it. Now, if you're going to go in market right now, my stop loss will end up being at 86.83, and being able to give yourself a little bit of a pushing point to where you can be able to keep on moving with this trade and still kind of feel comfortable with it. My question to myself is, am I going to look to be able to add on? Because I do see that the market is in consolidation. It is kind of breaking out of this overall movement right now as we speak. So I think I might end up limping into this one as well. But my stop loss is definitely going to end up being at 86.83, which was the initial point for us being able to get in, which should be able to protect myself and I'll lower my overall percentage as a way of being able to get in as well off of this movement. Um, Take profit is still the same. We're still saying 94.50 is the overall spot. The only difference is now, as the market is being able to make a move to the upside, how can we be able to protect ourselves, or how can we be able to squeeze the most out of this profit as much as possible as well? So we still got a little ways to go. We'll see what happens with tomorrow's news. We'll see how the market kind of just starts reacting. Um, Obviously, this move is not going to happen overnight, but there is still a good chance that the market could continue to be able to move on its path for us being able to move up to the upside. Type in a Y, yes, you believe that, and also type in a money sign if you're actually in this pair, because you should be in the money. For the people that end up doing this from the elite standpoint, quite frankly, this move right here, once again, is done paid off this month, along with other moves done paid off the month already, just that quick. That's not even counting the automation system. So there we go. Now, Nas 100, a little bit different of a story. End up catching this market when the market ended up breaking the counter trend line break in this triangle to the upside. What happened was that the market ended up pushing up and basically ended up making a double top. If you're familiar with double tops, basically it's an M pattern. What ended up happening was market went up here, made a move, fell down to a natural support. We caught it when the market broke out of this overall area, right at the high volume node, right around 11,450, pushed all the way up to 11,570, which gave us a 100-point move to the upside, and then quickly fell down based off of the manufacturing PMI news and jobs and everything else like that. So it ended up taking either it took you out when it came down to the stop loss, or if you have to catch it before they actually end up making that counter trend line break, then you would have saved yourself some money. I actually ended up taking a full loss on this pair because my eyes were off of it because I was in the classroom teaching, which sucks because, quite frankly, if I was right in front of it, obviously I would have seen that counter trend line break and could have got a little bit more off of it. But I didn't run a trail stop. I thought that there was going to end up being a bigger push, but even with that being said, I should have known a little bit better because we know that we're in this large consolidation and anything can be able to happen. So I probably should have had a little bit more of a, I probably should have had a trail stop on this position. But either way, that's fine. The winning pair that I have on Nas is basically covering up what I ended up losing when it came down to this movement overall. Okay, so that's where we're at when it comes down to that one. Took a loss on Nas 100, but once again, we're going out the 1 to 6.7, 1 to 6.6 risk reward ratio. You end up losing those. It's a small loss compared to what you can end up making. All right. What was the other one? We end up taking a trade on DAX. So what happened with DAX was this. We end up seeing the market have consolidation. We end up getting in at 13,313. Market ended up pushing all the way up to 13,450. Then from there, based off of the news, market started to fall. Now here's a problem. I ended up seeing this right around 9 o'clock, and I was like, I'm going to see how this market kind of reacts. But I should have known based off of those three indecision candlesticks that we probably should have took profit a little bit earlier. But we're still riding through the wave. It basically ended up turning past resistance into a future support when the market broke up and then fell right back here. Same thing that we're seeing with oil, and hopefully we can see this thing gradually start to push up. Now, keep this in mind. We have news that's going to end up coming out tomorrow. So I do believe that the market's going to end up being slow. Keep that in your mind as we're going through and kind of figuring out. So it wouldn't surprise me if the market tries to break this area up here, but may end up staying in that area. You may end up staying in that area as well as we're trying to figure out how the market's going to end up moving overall when it comes down to that. So I took profit on this market when it ended up breaking down a little bit. I actually ended up getting back into it when the market broke a counter trend line break. Currently, right now, we're seeing somewhat of the same thing. The hour is giving us a little bit of a good crossover. My only problem is that are we looking at a fake out? That's my simple question. Because the news is going to come out a little bit later on today, are we looking for a fake out? Do you have trail stops on your algos? Yes, I do. I have it as a setting that I can be able to do. Also remember with the FX Skywalker, as soon as it ends up hitting a certain amount of pips, and it's automatically taking off percentages of the trade while the market is actually moving as well. But my trail stops are a little bit different on each and every pair. So, hey, you need to be in the bed. Okay, you can say hey, but you're going straight up to the bed. Oh, say hey. You said that you wanted to say hey, and you're gonna speak soft. Say hey. Say it with your chest. No, say hey. Say see you later. Say see you later. Look right there. Say see you later. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Good night. But yeah, from a trail stop perspective, it's different with each and every one of my EAs. It's not necessarily the same. We can't see your cam on YouTube. No, I didn't know that. That would make sense. There we go. Okay, can everybody see me now? Well, dang, y'all missed my little one then. Up there, yeah, yeah, y'all missed my little one. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Good to go. All right. So, question is very simple. Should you be interested in being able to take this trade right now on German 40? I would say yes. In particular, I would probably look at it a little bit more. I do like the counter trend line break to the upside. Obviously, we know that we're trying to move back up to the top based off of this movement. The 15 minutes in the buy zone, 15 minutes in the sell zone, that's the only thing that I do not like. And remember, when the 15 minutes in the sell zone, we're talking about an hour to an hour and a half of movement to the downside. So we got to pay attention to that a little bit more as the market is kind of being able to move and just kind of wave itself. So that's the one thing, that's the only thing that I would kind of be like, I'd be a little bit worried about. But overall, I actually ended up pulling the trigger. I ended up getting into this trade a little bit earlier. I got in at what was the number? Um, got in at 13,381 about 6 pips ago. That was about an hour ago when it came down to that movement. I limped in. The only reason why I limped in is because, and I think I'm saying it right here, not right now. I know y'all can. I think y'all can be able to see it. If we end up passing this 1369 area, I do think that we'll have a pretty good, at least a pretty good push up to the upside based off of this one. And we might have to be able to run our trail stop from there. But I do like even a scalp up to 13,000, 13,413. 13,410. Even if it's just a scalp, I do like that overall thought process move. Now, obviously, will it happen? We'll see. But obviously, we're still in that gap area when it comes down to this movement. But that was a huge drop to the downside. I don't know because it happened on every pair. So what happened? Matter of fact, can somebody help me out on this one? What happened earlier today? I see. Fed expect to raise rate by 3/4 of a point. Signal could slow down the pace. We already know that. We've seen that yesterday. Um, 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago. Amazon sell off. Oh, there you go. Amazon sell off right there. Anytime that you end up having one of your big groups end up having a sell off like that, that would be the reason why it ends up basically making a downside move like that. Yeah. All right. So that makes sense. Um, let's see. That was the three pairs that they ended up going into. Let's go through the big three. I'm going to open up the floor for everybody to be able to take a look at a pair that you would like to be able to look at. We need to take a look at natural gas as well. Let me take a look at natural gas. We talked about that earlier, but um, talked about being able to pay attention to it a little bit more. Let's see. All right, so let me remember what I was talking about here. All right, weekly perspective. Market um, is or has been falling to the downside. It was basically in the buy zone when it comes down to this movement, which is a good thing. It held support right there, held support right there, held support right there, and currently right now is holding support right here. So that means that we're looking at a bullish position that we can start being able to pay attention to. The only thing that I think I said it earlier, the only thing that I did not like was the market was in the sell zone when it comes down to this movement. But we started to see a little bit of consolidation as well as this market started to be able to make this move as well. So we take a look at it from an hourly perspective. The question is the market truly ready to be able to make a move, or are we just getting played off of this movement? Um, Currently, right now, um, I don't see a natural consolidation, at least not yet. Not from an hourly perspective. Let's see what's happening with the 15. It's kind of the same. I can tell you what I do see though. And type in a while, yes, if you can be able to see this. Or better yet, let me see what y'all say. What do y'all see on this one? As you have some time, take a look at silver NCCL stock. Okay. Steve, I hope you didn't I hope you didn't get rid of your what's that stock that we keep on looking at? The flying car stock. Don't tell me you done ran away from that one already. Tell me what y'all see. Let me see if y'all see it before I actually place it in. XPeg. Okay, cool. All right, this is what I'm seeing. Seeing a channel. There goes your support right there. There goes the movement right there. So, but not necessarily up to support on this overall movement, but I can see that we're basically at a rising channel when it comes down to this. Um, so that means that the market ended up hitting support earlier today. Um, Obviously, with this movement, there's a couple things that are going against us. We see the VWAP. The VWAP is still above it. We see the moving average is still above it. We see that obviously the market has been moving bearish. I would like to be able to catch it a little bit at a better spot when it comes down to this movement overall. Ooh, excuse me. Um, there's a pretty okay chance that the market could push back up to 5.6 when it comes down to this movement. But from a 15 minutes perspective, it is in the buy zone. But I can see the things starting to be able to turn around and tail off right here. It's a very small consolidation point right here that we got to be able to pay attention to, and I think that's primarily because it's after hours more than anything else. So currently, right now, nothing to be able to do on natural gas. I'm going to stay away from it. We'll go from there. CCL. Let's take a look at that. Uh, Still got it little by little. Um, Natural gas, they have no place to store it right now, and all the tanks are full of diesel and heat and oil. I guess needed bad in the East Coast. Makes sense. Once again, getting back to cold weather and being able to talk about that before. So it's going to end up. I think it's going to end up exploding at some point in time. The question is, when is that going to end up happening? I think it probably might end up being in this month, or at least starting to see the market may end up moving this month. Now I'm just doing that based off of this timing and everything else like that I've known for the last few years. But doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to end up remaining to be the same thing. But we'll see. I'll see. Block says, unfortunately, I be on a plane doing Fed talk. Downside, my algo is about 40%. Makes sense. Makes sense. Take what you can right now, go ahead and bank it in, see what happens when it comes down to that movement. I think that there's no reason for your grid positions, there's no reason to sit up there and have that on because you just don't know. Well, no, well, let me rephrase that. With cryptocurrency, it may be a little bit different, but I do think that it's going to be a pop somewhere. Let's go CCL. Let's see, Carnival. I haven't looked at Carnival in God knows when. Well, I can tell you when I looked at Carnival, somewhere around July 1st. Okay. All right, here we go. High volume node, bam, consolidation. Market broke to the downside. Oh, excuse me. Um, let's go back and take a look at this from a weekly perspective first before we jump into anything. From a weekly perspective, the market. Oh, excuse me. Um, oh wow. Okay. Carnival has fell all the way down to prices that it started off with, or it's almost close to. Excuse me. Carnival is pretty much at prices of where it was in the early 90s. Legitimately the early 90s, which is kind of scary, but it's also excuse me, also an area of if there's going to be more traveling, and you can be able to take advantage of it, then that might be a position to be able to get into. So I think I referred to it like this. There goes our outer trend line, there goes our inner trend line, there goes our innermost trend line. Market was in consolidation. We were waiting for a pop to the upside that did not happen, actually fell to the downside. From a daily perspective, um, this market is still kind of moving up and kind of rejecting off of this medium volume node at 943. If that does happen, then do expect that the market's going to continue to fall. If that's the case, then look your chops to look at being able to get in on some more low prices to be able to make some money off of it, off of this particular pair. And then after that, we'll go from there. What's going on, Two Shot? Hope everything's going well with you. Have we done Bitcoin yet? No, we'll talk about that next. Flying stock releases earnings on the 14th. Okay, I keep that in mind. Appreciate it. Let's see. I have a feeling that Bitcoin's gonna break 25. I have a conditional stops. Okay. Why am I sneezing so much? Sorry. Let's see. I have conditional stops on my crypto grids, high and low. Already made 50% profits on the total grid over the last 4 days. There you have it right there. Especially if you're taking a look at it from Discord perspective. Take a look at what's Block doing. I've seen this stuff. I've seen this stuff in action, and obviously we've talked about what the overall psychology is of it. But I think Block, what you have, 7 or 8 pairs that you have it set up for. I know you have it set up for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Atom. There's a few other pairs like that. So if anybody's interested in being able to learn a little bit more about that, obviously, send Block a personal message. He's killing it when it comes down to cryptocurrency from an automation standpoint. You better catch him before he goes to Asia, though. He's going to end up disappearing. Not in a literal way, but more of a vacation type of deal. Steve, right now, from a daily perspective, I'm not looking at selling. Obviously, I wouldn't look at being able to sell. We're back inside of that consolidation that ended up happening. It's too much of a bear flag, though. Not a bear flag, but it's too much of a. If we get into this from a 2-hour perspective and everything else like this is not more than a rising wedge. And rising wedges are just like roller coasters. The one thing you know about roller coasters is that it will end up taking you on a tick all the way up to the top. Once it gets up to that top level, it'll sit up there and drop based off of that movement. Yeah. Currently, right now, it's nothing to be able to do, but more of the action would tell me that the market is going to fall again. So, Steve, I'm gonna stay away from that one. There we go. So, CCL, not going to do anything with. Oh, I want to take a look at XFEG. This was we take a look at least once every week. So, I want to see what's going on with that. PG. XPath. Markets fell all the way down to 643. You have to move the stop loss right here. The one thing that I do like is that, well, no, has it broke that low yet? 626. What's the low? Is at 643. I don't know if that's going to end up being a double bottom. I doubt that it is based off the way I'm looking at it. You said earnings reports are coming out on the 14th, correct? It's hard for me to say that the market. Obviously, the fields are saying that it could go to negative 281. It's hard for me to sit up there and say that I think that that's going to happen. The one thing that I do hate is we're taking a look at the daily on the fib. The fib is saying that the market could fall potentially again. Um, and if that's going to end up being the case, this is where the stock started off at. The stock started off at $24, and currently right now is at $6.41. I mean, it is downhill when it comes down to this movement. Once a counter trend line break ends up happening, that's the time when you can be able to kind of make the move and kind of feel very comfortable with it. But geez, nothing still to be able to do on this one. Let's go ahead and go to Bitcoin real quick. Let's see, oil is doing me okay. Oil is doing fine. Bitcoin, let's see, we'll call it tonight, we'll call a night on this one. Um, unless there's somebody on YouTube that sent out a message that I just haven't seen yet. No, I don't see anything yet. Kendra, thanks for the like, thanks for the follow. I do appreciate that as well. Um, don't hesitate to sit up there and join inside of the conversation. It's always good to be able to do that. Even if you don't have any pairs to be able to take a look at, make sure that you end up hopping inside of the conversation, and also make sure that you end up paying attention to what we're doing inside of our Discord group and everything else like that. It's a lot of good information inside of there. Um, okay, so Bitcoin, we'll finish off on this one, and we'll ride out today. Still got some more work that I got to do inside of my garage. All right, so very simply put, what has happened over the course of the last few hours? Market broke up, went from 20,354, found resistance at 20,000, basically 21,000. Since then, we end up saying that the natural support line was basically at 20,354, and we've seen that the market kind of bounced right around that 20,354 area a couple times before being able to push off. Since then, the market has been moving to the upside, but just like how we end up talking about that, there was a channel going to the upside on that last pair that we end up taking a look at. I'm seeing the same thing going to the downside on this one as well. So don't know if I'm going to be truly interested in being able to make a move off of this, only because of what I'm seeing right here. I do think that it will push up a little bit more, but I don't think that until tomorrow after news comes out, I don't think there's really going to be a great type of situation for us being able to get in. So save your money right now, and then after that, see how everything kind of goes along when it comes down to this pair. Okay. Nothing to be able to do. I'm not chasing it. There's no reason to chase it. We got big news that's going to end up happening tomorrow, and then we kind of play off on it when it comes down to that. Just a quick review. DAX. DAX were in on a buy. I don't know if I like it as much anymore, but let's see. We're still in that phase of movement to where the market could potentially keep on pushing up. As long as the VWAP stays above, then I'm going to stay in it. We are getting a little bit of separation between the VWAP and the actual moving average, and we're still in that low volume node area where we could be able to peak up. Now, that's the crazy part. We talked about that earlier. Golly. From a 1 hour perspective, I think I end up giving two positions. First position is, no, we're still there. First position is being able to get out at the 13,530. Second take profit position will end up being 13,613. May have to be a little bit more patient, allow this one to be able to play out, but I think that ultimately that is what we end up getting when it comes down to that whole. Oil in on this one on a buy. Remember, okay, what's going on? So, Bitcoin needs to hold above 19,350 to remain bullish. I believe so. Thanks for checking my stuff. Always two shot. What news and what time? News tomorrow is going to end up being interest rate decisions. So Jerome Powell, Remember, anytime that Jerome Powell speaks, market moves. It never fails. Anytime he speaks, the market will move. Now, this is a double whammy because remember, interest rate decision comes out at 2, so you're going to end up having that first shock move. Remember, we talked about the first 15 minutes allowing the market to be able to kind of move and kind of predict itself on what's going to happen, and then after that, looking at being able to jump in. The only other problem is this: the monetary policy statement goes on, or the press conference goes on at 2:30, and based off of what Jerome Powell says and based off of the questions and everything else like that, could truly make the market move in one direction from there. So on interest rate day, it is almost important to almost wait a full hour to see how the market is going to end up reacting instead of trying to just jump in. Because you can jump in and the market can move 500 pips in one direction and then pop right back up and go 700 pips in another direction before truly actually making this move and wiping out everyone in the market. Trust me, that has happened. I've seen that a couple weeks. I've seen that in one of the trades that we end up doing on US 30, where legitimately I went from being up about 500 to 600 points to being down 200 points, only to be able to see that the market fell down another 1,300 points after the monetary policy statement was over with. So if you're going to trade it, you got to be okay with being able to take profit early or cutting trades off until you end up getting a true direction on what's happening and being able to go from there. Odds on favor is that the market is going to end up being bearish on the interest rate and bullish on everything else, just based off of how we're seeing that the weekly is starting to turn over. Any bad news will end up obviously making the market fall, which means that gold and all these other pairs can be able to take advantage of it. If you like what I end up doing, please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button. Uh, hopefully this stuff end up making sense as we end up going through everything. Remember, tomorrow in the morning, I'm probably not going to be interested in being able to make a lot of moves. I want to see how the market reacts first before being able to jump in. And like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade and trading your plan. And the only way to be able to get this done is you got to be able to take risks. So you got to be able to control your own luck and by being able to find the best pairs. But once you end up doing that, take advantage of it. Everyone, take it easy. See y'all tomorrow.